All right, good morning. So we're gonna do a slightly different shoot today for our open shade, right? So, again, I wanna get out of the sun. If I'm standing here, I'm in backlighting, right? And so I wanna actually move into the shade. So just so that sun is kind of peeking behind there. And that way the light's off and even, right? The light looks great. And so we're just gonna be working on a slightly different version of how we're going to do the fill. And so we'll start off with a couple that are just with no fill, just so we have kind of a point of comparison. And I'm gonna go ahead and lock the exposure. And I'm gonna bring this down just a little bit. It just seems like it's a little bit hot when it's got all that green bushes and things like that. So I think that'll just kind of, is a slightly better exposure. So we'll go ahead and take a couple. And then we're gonna start to use our fill. So we're in frontal light, right? Because again, if we look this direction, there's our sky, right? So I'm completely facing towards the sky at this point. And so the first thing we're gonna do is grab our white fill card. And basically what we wanna do is, here's our fill card. So you can see it's just right inside the sun, right? So we're gonna be using that and we're gonna start to bounce the light back. So you can see here, and again, let me go ahead and adjust that exposure. So then as we go to use the fill, basically you can see all of a sudden that's without the fill, that's with the fill, right? And I'm holding the fill nice and high. You can see it kind of this direction, right? So I'm keeping it really high in the sky. That way the light's coming from down, coming down, right? We don't want to be, uplighting, right? So we want to keep it up high. And so, I'll go ahead and shoot a couple. And it's getting a lot of warmth because, the sun's still pretty low in the sky. So then that was with our white. And again, it probably isn't the worst idea to get a picture, there's with white. And then the next one is with silver. And then again, we're gonna just take that and then bounce that, right? And you can see I'm starting to get like butterfly light, right? And I can open that up, I can bring it down a little lower. Okay, so that's our silver. Next up is gold. So again, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Now gold's probably going to be really warm because again, the sun is just coming up this morning. So that's our gold. And then last but not least is our black. Now, with the black, we're going to do it a little bit different. We'll do it just like we did before with inside, because it's not really going to do anything over here. Like this isn't really going to help much. It's actually bouncing some light. But what I'm going to do is actually hold it in over here on the side. You can see it's darkening down that side of the face. Ideally, what would be great is if I had two of them, one on each side, but okay. So that's our frontal light. So then what we're going to be doing is we're going to rotate 45 degrees. And you can see, I'm starting to get shadow on this side. So it's kind of like our Rembrandt light. So again, I've got the shadow on that side. Let's see, actually, do I want to go this way? We'll go this way. All right, so I'm starting to get shadow on that side of the face. And, it's not a lot, it's just a little bit, right? But, compared to there, that's more frontal. And we can see there's a little bit more shadow on that side of the nose. So, let's go ahead and take a couple. And then here's going to be our white fill. And then so now we're not going to be still holding it in front of us. We're going to keep it so that it's out there in the sun in the same position. And what that's actually going to do is it's going to strengthen the direction of light that we had previously. But it's soft light, right? Because it's bouncing off of that card, so it's a big light source. So again, as we bring that in, we still want that Rembrandt light, but it's just now going to be a little bit brighter than it was before. I might actually even bring down our exposure just a little bit. Okay, so that was our white. On the opposite side, we've got silver. And then again, it's going to stay out there in the light. You can see it's reflecting a lot of light. You know, and I can bring it around a little bit, but I want that directional light, so I want that Rembrandt. There we go. And then next up after our silver is gold. So there's my gold reflector. And again, I'm just holding it out here, right? So it's catching that light and it's pushing it back into the shade, and it's creating that directional light. All right, and then last but not least is black. And again, for black, I'm going to go ahead and bring it over to this side. I'm just crossing my hand underneath, but and then I'll just change the angle. But again, what we're seeing is it's cutting this highlight, right? So we should see a pretty big difference between that and that. All right, so that was our Rembrandt. So last but not least is going to be split lighting. So I'm just going to, again, turn another 90 degrees. And, you know, there's not, you know, if we look, you know, there's sky all above me and around me. And if the closer I got to that wall, maybe if I tuck in this way a little bit, maybe I'll get a little bit more of that split lighting. But, you know, there's also a white wall over here, so it might be picking up some of that. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. But so what we should be able to tell is that the background's changed, right? That was straight on, that was at 45 degrees, and now I'm at 90, right? So we should be able to see that inside of yours, even if you can't see the direction of light so much, because you know, if you're really open in the shade, you know, there might be a lot of light that's coming over there, but we can definitely see the size darker. So again, let's go ahead and shoot just a couple to start with. And then here's our white card. And then again, so now as we add that light on that side, you know, I can bring it a little bit, you know, I can kind of bring it around to see where that light's going to go. Yeah, so that I can really create a little bit more of that split lighting. So that's our white. Next up is silver. Put it in there, I can tell it's silver. You know, you can really see a difference, right? I mean, it's adding quite a bit of light in there. If I bring it a little lower, it'll give me a little bit less raccoon eyes. And if I bring it back, it's giving me more of a side lighting as opposed to a Rembrandt, right? Okay, so that's silver. Next up's gold. And again, you can see that's got quite a bit of warmth, again, from that morning light. Okay. And then last one is our black. And again, with the black, we're gonna use it on this side. So, you know, you could switch hands. It might be easier than trying to hold it the same way, but I'm just going to try to do it all with one. So again, I want, you know, it's just outside the frame, but I want, you know, to darken down that side as much as I can. And again, just to compare, that's without, and that's with, right? So that negative fill is really doing quite a bit in that open shade area. All right, so there you go. That's how we're going to use our reflectors inside of open shade in a slightly different way. So this time, instead of doing the fill from inside the shade, we're doing the fill from outside the shade, except for black. And we're pushing more light into that shade to emphasize that direction of light and to create a little bit more contrast, but still with soft, even light. So I'm excited to see how the results work for you guys. Okay, bye.